Censorship is the suppression of speech or deletion of material considered objectionable, harmful, sensitive, or inconvenient to an organization as determined by the censor. The rationale for censorship is different for various types of information being censored. Occasionally, censorship is used to aid authorities or to protect an individual. As with kidnappings, attention and media coverage of the victim can be seen as unhelpful. Moral censorship is the removal of materials that are obscene or otherwise morally questionable. Military censorship is the process of keeping military intelligence and tactics confidential. Often, militaries will also attempt to suppress politically inconvenient information, even if that information has no actual intelligence value. In wartime, explicit censorship is carried out with the intent of preventing the release of information useful to the enemy. Typically, it involves keeping times or locations secret. During World War I, letters written by British soldiers would have to go through censorship. This consisted of officers going through letters and removing anything which might compromise operational secrecy. The World War II catchphrase, "Loose lips sink ships," was used as a common justification to exercise official wartime censorship and encourage individual restraint when sharing potentially sensitive information. An example of sanitization policies comes from the USSR under Joseph Stalin, where publicly used photographs were often altered to remove people whom Stalin had condemned to execution. Though past photographs may have been remembered or kept, this deliberate and systematic alteration of history is seen as one of the central themes of Stalinism and totalitarianism. Political censorship is when governments misinform their citizens, often to exert control over the population and prevent free expression in fear it might spawn into rebellion. Religious censorship is the means by which any material deemed objectionable to a certain faith is removed. This often involves a dominant religion forcing limitations on less prevalent ones. Alternatively, one religion may shun the works of another when they believe the content is not appropriate for their faith. Corporate censorship is the process by which editors in corporate media outlets intervene to halt the publishing of information that portrays their business or business partners in a negative light. The first rule of media censorship is you don't talk about media censorship. In educational censorship, the content of school textbooks is often the issue of debate. The term whitewashing is commonly used to refer to selective removal of critical evidence. The reporting of military atrocities in history is extremely controversial. Aside from the usual justification of pornography, language and violence, some movies and some television does get censored. Music censorship has been implemented by states, religions, educational systems, families, retailers and lobbying groups. Censorship of maps was used in former East Germany, especially for the areas near the border, so as to make attempts of defection more difficult. Censorship of maps also applies to Google Maps, where certain areas are grayed out or are out of date. This form of censorship is used in the novel 1984. Internet censorship is control or suppression of the publishing or accessing of information on the Internet. Barring on total control, total censorship of information on the Internet is difficult to achieve. The Australian government announced in December 2009 it will introduce highly controversial internet censorship legislation before the next Australian federal election. Censorship 2.0 is a type of interactive censorship by which the individual unwittingly censors the information